Welcome to TouchLine. I'm your host, Anthony Totera, here in the OSA studios, and I'm joined by Mitchell Camacho. He is a referee in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. Mitchell, thanks for joining us here.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, Mitchell, let me guess why you got into refereeing. It must have been Daddy pushing you along the way to get you in.
Yeah, he's a lot of help from him, and it's been good so far. So.
Now, Mitchell, let's talk about when you first started refereeing. You've been refereeing, you told me, about 4 years. You started where? At the mini level or at the house league level?
Yeah, I started at the mini level, just around home. There's a field right by my house, so that's where I would go once a week and just referee small kids. So.
Now, how cool must it have been the first time you got out there to blow that whistle on a foul?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Just seeing the kids run around and playing with the ball, it was fun.
Now, Mitchell, talk about when you got training to get into refereeing. Obviously, Dad must have helped you immensely, and he still helps you. But what kind of training did you get right from the beginning when you wanted to get into refereeing?
Well, my dad, he's always been doing clinics and stuff around, and so I always went with him, and I was always at all the clinics. I was hearing the questions, I was hearing the answers and stuff like that, so I learned a lot from there. And he was at all my games, so at halftime I'd be talking to him, he'd be giving me tips and pointers, so a lot of help from him.
And that is great, valuable experience to have a dad like that and someone that's helping you along the ropes. Now, what would you say to another young man or young girl your age that maybe would never want to get into refereeing because, you know, the abuse, the yelling, the screaming? What would you like to tell them? That is it something to get into that is good?
Yeah, well, it's fun to see from the other side. I've been playing soccer my whole life, seeing from the player's point of view, and then when you see from the referee's point of view all the calls, so it's good. It's good to see both sides.
Now, let's talk about, you've been refereeing about 4 years, and I'm sure there had to be a couple bumps here and there. Has there been a couple situations where you've really had to get to the coach and say, look, pipe it down, take it easy, or maybe a player or a parent? Tell us about that. Yeah,
there was one coach, I think I called a penalty shot or something, and he pulled the rule book out on me, and he was yelling at me. So
he pulled the rule book out on you.
Yeah, he pulled out the rule book, but you just got to brush it. You got to brush it off, and you just keep going.
Attaboy, Mitchell, you still called it. Yeah. Now, Mitchell, talk about today. It's a day where a lot of these fields, Mitchell, you got to examine and look at them properly before you let the game start, because we've seen a lot of times these fields are bumpy. There's big potholes at the beginning of the seasons. Maybe they're not maintained. Maybe there's no lines. How do you handle that?
Well, that's a thing with a lot of fields, the small fields around. There's lots of holes, and the grass isn't always good. Lots of weeds and lots of dirt showing, but I mean, when the field's not safe, you can tell. When it's just not safe for the kids to play on it, you know, and that's when you call the game and you talk to somebody about it, like someone from the club or something.
That's great. That's great to hear. Now, Mitchell, how do you go about when a young boy, young girl makes a foul? Do you explain it to them, or do you just let it go, or do you explain it to the coach so they know as well, or do you just let the play go? I
try to explain it to the players, especially like things like foul throws. I always give the kid a couple chances. When he does a foul throw, I let him try again until he gets it right, because they got to learn. When I call a foul, I explain it to them. I let them know what they did wrong. So.
Yeah, I love hearing that. So you tell the coaches, I would guess before the game, say, look, if the throwing is done wrong, I'm going to let them do it till they get it right. So you let them know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, Mitchell, talk about, I'm sure there had to be a couple highlights in your young 4-year career. Maybe you've reffed a final. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, house league finals, it's good. And the parents, they're all excited, and the kids are excited, so it's a lot of fun.
But you're excited too, because you're reffing a final. You know this is something that you've looked forward to in your young refereeing career. How do you prep for this? How do you get ready? Maybe did you watch the two teams before they got to the final to see how they're playing and look for certain things? Yeah, and it is. It's really exciting. I'm all excited. I got a lot more energy than usually. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Now, Mitchell, before we let you go, how far do you want to go? Do you want to get to the level that Dad got to, or do you want to make your own name out there?
Well, it'd be great to get where my dad got. Me personally, I like being the assistant referee. I like that better, but yeah, it'd be great to get as far as he got. It's lots of fun. So. Why
would you like to be the assistant and not the main guy?
I don't know. I just enjoy it more personally, and I don't know.
Well, that's
I can't really explain.
Well, that's great, because you know what? A lot of the assistants today have to make big, crucial calls, especially on the offside. So that is an important job.
Yeah.
Now, what are you looking forward to this summer? Because it's coming around very closely, and I'm sure that you're getting ready. What level are you going to be refereeing? Is it still going to be house league, or are you going to be at the rep level? Tell us.
Hopefully I'll be getting some games at some higher levels. I haven't really gotten any higher levels before, but hopefully this year I'll get some. That's something that I look forward to, is getting, like, maturing kind of in the refereeing. So.
Well, right now, Mitchell Camacho, you have matured because you've taken the next step to help out the community, give back, and start refereeing. Congratulations on taking that step. Keep up the great work and keep up the attitude you have at the game of soccer. Mitchell Camacho, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. This is the young, the new, lively generation that wants to get into refereeing. Mitchell Camacho joins us here on Touchline.